Renegade Immortal Episode 122. This illusion was the same as Wang Lin, its eyes were closed. As Wang Lin floated into the air, the 5 old men were completely stunned. They looked at the phantom behind Wang Lin and revealed very respectful expressions. It really is the ancestor. The ancestor has appeared. Could this person be the one the ancestor has been searching for all this time? The 5 of them looked at each other. At this moment, the red cloud began to descend like crazy. It no longer moved by inches and instead by tens of feet. 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet. In the blink of an eye, it pressed down 100 feet. Along with a series of rumbling sounds, not only did the entire Sky Demon City collapse, it now sank deep into the ground. Looking from above, Sky Demon City no longer existed. Dust couldn't even be kicked up because it was being pressed directly into the ground. A huge basin appeared where Sky Demon City was. It didn't end here. Countless cracks extended from the basin. Following the sounds of ground cracking, the basin continued to increase in depth. The descent of the red cloud and heaven's might didn't end just yet. After the red cloud descended 100 feet, it didn't stop and continued to descend. From far away, this mass of red clouds looked like it could fall from the sky at any moment. As the red cloud continued to descend, bursts of thunder echoed through the sky. This fierce sound echoed around the world. The cracks on the ground spread like crazy. Following the sounds of cracking, the ground within 5 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 500 kilometers, 5,000 kilometers shattered into pieces. The shattered earth was immediately crushed into dust by the pressure. The bustling Sky Demon City was no longer there. Wang Lin floated in the air and was the center of the pressure from the heaven's might. His body remained motionless as if he had fallen asleep. Just at this moment, it was as if Wang Lin had awakened from his slumber. He suddenly opened his eyes, and as he did so, the ancient demon phantom behind him also opened its demonic eyes. At this moment, there seemed to be some mysterious power controlling his body. He slowly raised his right hand and pressed it against the red clouds. The ancient demon behind him also raised its giant right hand and pressed it toward the sky. If you looked clearly, it was not Wang Lin who moved first but the ancient demon who raised its right hand first. Tao destruction. The ancient demon and Wang Lin both opened their mouths, but the voice came from Wang Lin's mouth. Although those 2 words were light, at the moment they were said, a monstrous demonic energy burst forth from Wang Lin and the ancient demon. At the same time, Wang Lin's body charged at the red cloud in the sky like a sharp sword. The ancient demon behind him followed suit. The thunder from the red cloud was like the angry roar of the heavens. The red cloud continued to descend, and the distance between Wang Lin and the red cloud grew smaller and smaller. 1 palm, clouds shattered. When the palm from the ancient demon and the palm from Wang Lin landed on the red cloud, a powerful gust of wind suddenly appeared. The red cloud was like the raging sea as its angry roar echoed through the sky. Wang Lin's body suddenly descended from the sky until he landed on the ground. At the moment he landed, a huge fluctuation was sent out, and the 5,000 kilometers of shattered earth extended to 50,000 kilometers. The earth within 50,000 kilometers shattered. The ancient demon behind Wang Lin also landed on the ground the moment Wang Lin landed. However, its body seemed to have become a little blurry. The heaven's might was irreversible, and the ancient demons were the second kind of life form to defy the heavens and cultivate. They had faced divine retribution countless times, and their bodies recovered in an instant. The red cloud disappeared from the sky, but at the moment it disappeared, a ray of red light 100 feet long suddenly descended from the sky. This red light was far stronger than the divine retribution lightning from before. It was not even on the same level. However, the red light's target wasn't Wang Lin but the ancient demon phantom behind him. The ancient demon and Wang Lin both raised their heads and a demonic light suddenly burst out from the ancient demon's eyes. The scarlet heavenly light. It has been a long time since I savored its flavor. At the moment the red light descended, the ancient demon leaped into the air and devoured the red light. The red light entered the ancient demon's body and caused it to explode, but it quickly reformed itself. Collapse, reform, collapse, reform, collapse, and then reform. In just one short breath of time, the ancient demon collapsed 10,000 times and reformed 10,000 times. The body ancient demon's large body was forced from floating in the air back onto the ground. Then a huge, circular shockwave began to spread with it as the center. The shockwave was over 100 feet tall and spread like a huge wave scouring the land. In an instant, it spread 5 kilometers and was still going. A series of rumbles echoed across the land as the ground within 5 kilometers shattered once more, creating a shockwave 10 times bigger. At this moment, everything within 50 kilometers was turned inside out and left in ruins. The red cloud had disappeared completely from the sky and returned to normal. The ancient demon let out a burp, then its eyes revealed exhaustion as it turned into green smoke and disappeared. Come meet me at the Dragon Lake in 3 months. The ancient demon's voice wasn't sent to Wang Lin's ears but spread out to everyone. When the ancient demon disappeared, Wang Lin took a step forward and also disappeared. As the gentle breeze blew by, the 5 old men climbed out from the ruins and looked at each other. One of the old men shouted, "This damned divine retribution. Yun Dun, you brat, get over here. Yun Dun, get your ass over here. If you don't appear within 3 breaths of time, this old man will throw you inside the Dragon Lake and seal you there for 100 years. Once this old man began shouting, they all started shouting at the top of their lungs, releasing thunderous roars. A shadow quickly climbed out from the ruins. When that shadow heard the old men's shouting, he let out a wry smile before disappearing and reappearing on the square of the imperial city. The man quickly said, "Grandson Yun Dun greets 5 grandfather ancestors." This was the same young man that drank all night with Wang Lin. "You bastard, Sky Demon City is now gone. I give you 3 months of time to restore this place back to its original state, or else I'll throw you into the Dragon Lake and seal you there for 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, 1,000 years. The final old man softly snorted. "Lock him up for life." The young man's body trembled, then he wryly smiled and nodded. 5 ancestors can rest assured. Your grandson will definitely restore the ancient demon city in 3 months. Go find the person the ancestor has chosen and bring him to the Dragon Lake in 3 months. After the 5 old men finished speaking, they looked at the ruins and then disappeared. When Wang Lin reappeared, he was more than 5,000 kilometers away. He immediately spread out his divine sense before taking a deep breath, touching his bag of holding, and taking out a token. This token was used to enter that mysterious cave. With this object, he could enter the cave any time he wanted. Wang Lin created symbols according to the information left in the token. Then the token released a white light that surrounded Wang Lin and then he disappeared. He once more returned to the platforms connected by the revered dragons. As soon as he appeared, he rushed toward the cave. After the divine retribution was over, Wang Lin immediately noticed that his domain had reached its completion and was slowly fusing with his celestial spiritual energy. This discovery immediately shocked him. Ascendant's life and death trial. If there was one mistake, not only would all of his cultivation be wasted, his origin soul would collapse too. Although he didn't know if this would affect the ancient god body on the outside, he wasn't willing to risk it. Ascendant is a trial that must be completed at a very safe place to remove all external factors to ensure the greatest chance of success. This cave was undoubtedly the best place to reach the Ascendant stage. Wang Lin moved very fast as he passed by the platforms one by one before finally arriving outside the cave. In a flash, he stepped into the familiar cave. Wang Lin rushed directly at the pavilion where he found the wine jug. After arriving, he quickly sat down in the lotus position and took a deep breath before slapping his bag of holding. There weren't many celestial jades left in his bag. After all, he had used a lot of celestial jades against the divine retribution. Wang Lin shook the bag of holding and all of the celestial jades immediately flew out. The pavilion's floor was covered with celestial jades, forming a small mountain. A large amount of celestial jades spread out, then Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he took out something from his bag of holding. This was a red crystal the size of a fingernail. The moment this crystal appeared, even the surrounding celestial spiritual energy paused. It was as if time had stopped for a moment, and this crystal gave off a faint feeling of the heaven's might. Ascendant Crystal. This was gifted to me by Senior Ju Yi. If I succeed in reaching the Ascendant stage today, I'll never forget my debt to Senior in my life. Wang Lin took a deep breath and then swallowed the crystal in his hand. After doing all of this, he closed his eyes and immersed himself in the process of reaching the Ascendant stage as his domain and celestial spiritual energy fuse. Time slowly passed. Wang Lin's expression was still as calm as well water without any ripples. The surrounding celestial jades were consumed and turned to dust. He absorbed endless amounts of celestial spiritual energy into his body. When someone attempts to reach the Ascendant stage, an Ascendant crystal forms in their origin soul. It is like a heart, the heart of the origin soul. Ju Yi's Ascendant crystal was a second heart for Wang Lin. Just as Wang Lin was reaching the Ascendant stage, Sky Demon City began its quick recovery. A large amount of demon soldiers gathered from all over the Sky Demon country to rebuild Sky Demon City. In the Black Tower at the ancient battlefield that was an unknown distance away, two ghostly lights appeared in the helmet of the black armor that was at the top of the tower. Even the ancient demon appeared to help you withstand the divine retribution. Just absorbing you like this is a pity. But after missing this chance, I don't know how long I'll have to wait. Although the power of Ascendant isn't much, I can't let it go. The fusion of the domain and celestial spiritual energy is a burning process. The celestial spiritual energy is the fuel, and the domain refined by that flame turns into an ascendant crystal. At the moment the ascendant crystal is formed, you might feel like you have become nothing and your soul is wandering the heavens and earth. This feeling is extremely rare and it is called ascendant enlightenment. Normally, the first thing cultivators on a cultivation planet do is use this moment of comprehension to pull their soul piece back from the cultivation planet crystal. Although the chance is only 50%, they must try. Wang Lin had already recovered his soul piece, so he obviously didn't need to do this. At this moment, all of the celestial jades in his bag had already been placed around him. The last bit of celestial spiritual energy had just been squeezed out from the jade before they turned to dust. There was no wind here, so the dust wasn't blown away and instead just gathered on the ground. A large amount of celestial spiritual energy entered Wang Lin's body through his pores and rapidly moved through his meridians. Then the celestial spiritual energy quickly gathered around his life and death domain in his origin soul. A self-refining process continued in Wang Lin's body. There was a firestorm raging inside Wang Lin as his body underwent earth-shattering changes. His origin soul was like a giant cocoon, his domain was the life inside the cocoon, and the celestial spiritual energy was the raging fire outside the cocoon. The stronger the flames, the more lively the cocoon became and the more the domain inside fused with the cocoon. The purpose of the fusion between the celestial spiritual energy and the domain was to eventually fuse the domain with the origin soul. From that point on, there would be no distinction between the domain and origin soul. The origin soul was the domain and the domain was the origin soul. The fire burned even stronger outside the cocoon. Whenever the flame seemed to weaken, even more celestial spiritual energy would surge in from the outside. It was like adding dry gas to a flame, causing it to burn even stronger. This celestial flame burned brightly inside Wang Lin's body. The flame was invisible and therefore not visible to the naked eye. However, if one were to use their divine sense, they would see the scene of Wang Lin emitting an amazing flame from his body. Seek Tao in the morning and die by night is something every ascendant cultivator knows, and it has a lot to do with this flame. If one can't get past this trial, then this flame will go from ethereal to real and will burn the origin soul and body to dust in an instant. The origin cocoon inside the flame became even more alive, and the life and death scroll inside the cocoon was also changing. It seemed like it was about to melt and fuse with the cocoon. Time slowly passed, and the celestial flame didn't weaken at all. As more and more celestial spiritual energy was injected into the flame, it burned even brighter. The domain inside the cocoon completely melted into a mass of chaotic energy. This energy was called origin energy in ancient times. During ancient times, there were no cultivators. The cultivators back then called themselves energy refiners. The powerful Kunlu energy refiners were the typical example of ancient cultivators. They called themselves energy refiners because of the energy in origin energy and because their cultivation was focused on origin energy. This strand of origin energy was formed from Wang Lin's domain. The origin energy was being nourished by the cocoon, and like a baby still in the mother's womb, the origin energy continued to grow stronger. In ancient times, this origin energy wouldn't be left inside the origin soul. Instead, it would be extracted and would replace all of the celestial spiritual energy in the body. However, after the celestial realm suddenly appeared out of the void, cultivators became celestials and seeked immortality, so they started using this origin energy as their life energy. They surrounded themselves with celestial spiritual energy, and that was how some cultivators and celestials wouldn't die as long as they had a sliver of true energy left. That sliver of true energy was this origin energy. The invisible flame inside Wang Lin became even more intense. The origin energy inside the origin soul cocoon condensed until it turned into a liquid-like substance. It was crystal clear and took various shapes. However, this liquid couldn't crystallize. If it couldn't crystallize, then it couldn't form the ascendant crystal. Wang Lin's conscience was wide awake. After trying many times and failing, he took a deep breath. At this moment, the celestial jades around his body exploded, releasing all of their celestial spiritual energy. The celestial spiritual energy moved like smoke as it all rapidly entered Wang Lin's body through his nose. The moment the last of the celestial spiritual energy from the celestial jades entered Wang Lin's body, the invisible flame burned several times stronger than before. In an instant, it was as if there were celestial flames coming out of Wang Lin's mouth and nose. A large amount of sweat began to come out from his body, but at the moment the sweat appeared, it would evaporate into white gas. The white gas above Wang Lin's head gradually grew more dense. The celestial flame in Wang Lin's body burned like it never burned before as it rushed at the origin soul cocoon. The origin energy liquid finally began to show signs of crystallizing after being refined by this flame. At the moment it was about to crystallize, it suddenly trembled. This tremble was completely silent, but it immediately caused the origin soul cocoon to move. The movement of the origin soul immediately caused the celestial flame to change. Instead of refining, it began to spread. The invisible flame in Wang Lin's body began to turn into real flame, and he was about to fail his attempt at reaching the ascendant stage. But just at this moment, the ascendant crystal that Ju Yi gifted him, which he devoured earlier, came out from his dantian and fused with the celestial flame. Not only could the celestial flame not affect it at all, but when it got close, the celestial flame dimmed as if this object could extinguish it. Ju Yi's ascendant crystal arrived next to the origin soul cocoon and entered it without any obstruction. It appeared next to Wang Lin's ascendant crystal. The two ascendant crystals, one representing life and death, while the other represented obsession. Ju Yi's ascendant crystal circled Wang Lin's ascendant crystal once before collapsing. At the moment it collapsed, all of the origin crystals inside it were absorbed by Wang Lin's ascendant crystal. Wang Lin's ascendant crystal grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. It grew like crazy from the initial fingernail size until it was the size of his pinky. At this moment, the origin soul cocoon no longer moved and the celestial flame stopped becoming real. Although all of this seems very simple, that was a moment of life and death. After absorbing the origin energy from Ju Yi's ascendant crystal, Wang Lin's ascendant crystal took shape. At that moment, the origin soul cocoon quickly shrank. It was now wrapped around the ascendant crystal. A new aura was slowly forming inside the origin soul cocoon. This process lasted for a very long time. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position inside that cave. He was motionless, it was as if he had always been there. On the outside, time quickly passed by. In the Sky Demon country, Sky Demon City had already been rebuilt 10 years ago. Its size and scope was the same as it was before. The Imperial Palace still stood, and the large square was back too. The giant demon drum was still on the square. 10 years of time flashed by in an instant. The residents of Sky Demon City dodged the catastrophe 10 years ago, but what they saw would be something they would never forget in their lives. The rumor of a cultivator named Wang Lin was still spreading across Sky Demon City. The boat was no longer there, and even the people from the boat were gone. There was no longer anyone playing the zither. The young man that once drank with Wang Lin was currently standing above a pavilion in the Imperial Palace. Beside him was a girl. She was very beautiful, but there was a mischievous expression on her face. If Shu Ligua were here and he saw the girl, he would be drooling and would then pounce at her while shouting, "Little beauty, your big brother Shu is back." That young man let out a sigh and muttered, "Strange. It has been 10 years since that little guy disappeared. Even with the 5 ancestors working together to check with their divine senses, they can't find a trace of him. It is as if he left this demon spirit land." The capital of Sky Demon City. After the city was rebuilt, there was a very glorious mansion built on the east side. This mansion had a giant plague with 6 large characters. Earth Vice Commander-in-Chief's mansion. There were countless servants inside the mansion, and there were fake mountains everywhere, making it very elegant. A burly man wearing a commander-in-chief robe was standing next to one of the fake mountains in the yard. He looked up into the sky and let out a sigh. Behind the burly man stood 3 men. These 3 men were all wearing the armor of demon generals, and they all stood there motionlessly and had very respectful attitudes. "Brother Wang, where did you go?" The burly man let out a long sigh. Inside the cave, Wang Lin hadn't moved at all in these 10 years. He still sat there as if he was a statue. In his body, the refining inside the origin soul cocoon slowly ended and a shocking aura slowly spread out from the cocoon. After an unknown amount of time, a crack suddenly appeared on the origin soul cocoon. This crack was very thin and the cocoon gently split. Shortly after, another crack appeared, and soon more cracks appeared across the cocoon. Even more cracks appeared all over the cocoon until it finally shattered. The moment it shattered, rays of grey light came out from within. Then a newly born origin soul slowly floated out from the cocoon. This origin soul was no longer transparent but completely solid. There was almost no difference between it and the flesh. The ascendant crystal was slowly turning inside the origin soul. For an ascendant cultivator, their origin soul is their domain. This is the true state of a domain after it enters the body. After the origin soul flew out, the shattered cocoon immediately melted into nourishment specifically for the origin soul and was absorbed by the origin soul. Once all of it was absorbed, the origin soul sat down in the lotus position. At the moment his origin soul sat down, Wang Lin's body trembled, and for the first time in 10 years, he opened his eyes. Wang Lin muttered to himself, "Ascendant." Then his eyes lit up brighter than ever before. After 700 years of cultivation, he finally achieved the ascendant stage. Ascendant cultivators were top-tier existences in any rank 6 cultivation countries. Even in rank 7 cultivation countries, ascendant cultivators were still considered powerhouses. Wang Lin was in ascendant enlightenment for 10 years and had other harvests as well. At this moment in the Black Tower located in the ancient battleground, 2 ghostly lights suddenly lit up inside the helmet on the top floor of the tower. He has just reached the ascendant stage, so his origin energy hasn't completely fused with his body yet. It will take him 49 days to complete this process, and this window is something I have waited 10 years for. The ghostly light inside the armor flashed and then thundering roars came from outside the Black Tower. At this moment, a giant, black vortex suddenly appeared in the sky. This vortex was too large. When it spun, it was as if it could absorb everything in the world. The sky changed color and even the countless souls in the ancient battleground began to tremble. The ghostly light from the tower shined brightly as a powerful divine sense spread out from the tower and quickly covered the entire ancient battleground. The ground at some parts of the battleground loosened and soon several black bones flew out from underground into the air. These small bones quickly fused in the sky and formed a black bone arm. The black bone arm slowly flew toward the tower and stopped below the vortex. I haven't gathered much power, so I can't casually waste it. Also, his current location is one of the places I don't wish to go. The ghostly light from the armor flashed again and one arm from the armor broke off. It gave off a burst of demonic flame before flying out of the tower and straight toward the bone arm. The moment the armor touched the withered arm, it immediately attached itself to it. The moment the armor was attached, the arm became completely different than before as powerful bursts of demonic spiritual energy filled it. "Go, bring back the origin energy." The arm trembled before disappearing into the vortex. Only ascendant cultivators have origin energy inside their bodies. Too bad I'm too seriously injured to pull the origin energy out of cultivators who have already integrated the origin energy into their body from this far away. I can only choose to attack those who just made a breakthrough to steal their origin energy. The ghostly light from the armor that was now missing an arm guard gradually dimmed until it finally went out. Wang Lin was sitting in the lotus position inside the cave. He let out a breath of foul air and stood up. He had been sitting there for 10 years, so there were a lot of popping sounds before his body returned to normal. After he loosened his body, his expression suddenly changed and he looked up into the ceiling of the celestial cave. At this moment, a black vortex silently appeared. This is, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He had been in this cave for a very long time and had never seen this vortex before. The timing of this vortex was too good. It appeared right after he reached the ascendant stage. Wang Lin had a cautious nature, so when he saw the vortex appear, he immediately dashed for the gate of the cave. Just as he moved, the vortex suddenly sped up and thus increased its size. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he slapped his bag of holding and without any hesitation took out the cave token. His hand formed a seal, and soon his body became faint and was about to disappear. At this moment, a black bone arm wearing armor came out from the vortex and viciously swiped at Wang Lin. This swipe caused Wang Lin's disappearing figure to tremble, but then he instantly disappeared. The black bone arm paused for a moment before going back into the vortex, and the vortex disappeared. There was a distortion in the sky above an endless plain in the fire demon country, and Wang Lin stepped out of it. His expression was gloomy. Anyone who came across such a strange scene right as they reached the ascendant stage wouldn't feel happy. At the moment he used the token to teleport away, the arm interfered with the teleportation and caused a change. He spread out his divine sense and found that this place was completely foreign to him. Just at this moment, a black dot appeared in the sky. This black dot spun at an unimaginable speed and in almost an instant turned into that giant vortex. The vortex appeared in complete silence. Even divine sense wasn't able to detect its appearance ahead of time. It was as if there was nowhere the vortex didn't exist. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he stared at the vortex. This time he didn't run, he wanted to see how much power that arm inside the vortex had. Almost at the moment the vortex appeared, the armored bone arm came out and reached toward Wang Lin. No wind or clouds moved with this grab. There were no fluctuations showing signs of spells being used. This grab was almost as if a mortal was waving his arm. Wang Lin frowned slightly, then he raised his right hand and for the first time he used the finger of death at the ascendant stage. The black light was 10 times larger than before, and there were rings of ripples inside it. The black light charged out like thunder and landed on the bone arm. At this moment, an astonishing amount of demonic spiritual energy came out from the armor. This demonic spiritual energy was also solid and immediately blocked the finger of death. However, the demonic spiritual energy underestimated Wang Lin's finger of death. Perhaps if Wang Lin wasn't at the ascendant stage, then the finger of death would immediately have shattered when facing this demonic spiritual energy, but now Wang Lin was using ascendant level cultivation to activate the finger of death. Although the black light was stopped, the death energy within couldn't be stopped. At the moment the demonic spiritual energy and death energy collided, the demonic spiritual energy dissipated as if it had been absorbed by the death energy. All of this happened in an instant. Just as Wang Lin sent out the finger of death, he immediately noticed an invisible force coming at him. This force was like a gentle wind, but at the moment it landed on his body, his expression changed greatly. He immediately noticed that his newly formed ascendant origin soul was about to be blown away with this wind-like invisible force. Even his mind wasn't able to resist at all, and even his right hand slowly lowered. His origin soul gradually drifted from his body and was about to leave. But when a sleepy feeling appeared inside his body, Wang Lin's eyes became cold. Because his origin soul was about to leave his body had stiffened and he was rapidly losing consciousness. At this moment, he didn't panic and instead became filled with killing intent. He was Wang Lin. He even dared to defy the heavens, he dared to even kill the heavens, so how could he be bewitched by this mere spell? Wang Lin had a heart of slaughter, and at this moment, his heart of slaughter and his killing intent collided, resulting in a powerful slaughter aura. A low roar came from his mouth, and monstrous slaughter aura came out from his eyes. Under the power of this slaughter aura, his origin soul that was already halfway out of his body was forced back in. After his origin soul returned, Wang Lin coldly looked at the arm. No matter who you are, don't mess with me. Wang Lin took a step back, and at the same time, he used several teleport spells at once. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. The bone arm wasn't scary at all. What was scary was that wrist guard. The finger of death Wang Lin used to scout the situation allowed him to see through the wrist guard. There were many mysterious people in the demon spirit land. Wang Lin had just reached the ascendant stage and he required a few days for his origin soul to completely fuse, so he didn't want to get into too much trouble right now. At the moment Wang Lin left, a soft exclamation came from the Black Tower in the ancient battleground. No wonder he is a heaven-defying cultivator, he was able to forcibly resist my heavenly demon wind with his heart of slaughter. But the better you perform, the more interested I am in your origin energy. In the demon spirit land, those people that cultivate the way of the ancient demon can't form origin energy. Origin energy only appears when you cultivators reach the ascendant stage. In these countless years, almost every cultivator who reached the ascendant in this demon spirit land had their origin energy devoured by me. You will be no exception. Wang Lin reappeared after teleporting. This place was a desolate area without any mountains or water. There were only withered trees everywhere. However, his eyes immediately narrowed as he noticed some restrictions in the distance. What the hell was that arm? Wang Lin frowned as he flew toward the restrictions in the distance. Soon he arrived at the place the restrictions were located. This place was even more desolate than the one before. The ground here was filled with cracks due to how dry it was, and there was nothing abnormal about this place. The restrictions protecting this place weren't intricate, but they won in terms of quality. There was no less than 1,000 restrictions here, and they were all interlinked, so activating one of the restrictions meant activating them all. Although it was rough, it was still effective. Even a demon general would find it difficult to enter by force. Even if they could, it would take time to do so. Wang Lin spread out his divine sense. With his cultivation and knowledge of restrictions, these restrictions didn't interest him. He was not interested in what was inside and was about to leave when the black vortex suddenly appeared, causing Wang Lin's eyes to narrow. It's like a ghost haunting me. Wang Lin's eyebrows furrowed hard and his eyes became even colder. This black vortex kept appearing before him, and this made a hint of killing intent appear inside Wang Lin's heart. He let out a cold snort and quickly sank directly into the countless restrictions. With Wang Lin's understanding of restrictions, he could break restrictions at the same level as the ones inside the celestial cave, so the restrictions before him presented no challenge. With just a glance, countless deductions flashed through his eyes. Then his body quickly disappeared into the restrictions. The function of these restrictions, aside from preventing outsiders from entering, was also to create illusions to hide what was inside. However, Wang Lin had broken countless restrictions, so he was able to easily move through them without activating them. After going through the restrictions, the scene before him became vastly different from what he saw outside. This place was still a plain, but it had been artificially divided into plots of land and emitted a strange fragrance. Hey! Wang Lin was surprised, as he wasn't expecting something like this. What was more surprising was there was only one thing being grown here. Celestial Ascension fruit. Wang Lin's expression became a bit strange. At this moment, the surrounding restrictions began to collapse as the black bone forced itself through the countless restrictions and reached in. The Celestial Ascension fruit isn't a rare fruit. Although it isn't common, it is even possible to get it on planet Suzaku. These fruits are only the size of a baby's fist, and they are completely purple and give off a strange fragrance. If a person were to eat one, they would become excited and feel extreme pleasures. This is why this fruit is called Celestial Ascension fruit. If a mortal were to eat one, they would become addicted, but it wouldn't affect a cultivator much. However, there are cultivators who enjoy eating the fruit and losing themselves in that intoxicating feeling. In the mortal world, only the rich and powerful can get Celestial Ascension fruits from cultivators after paying a heavy price. Then they can immerse themselves in the intoxicating feeling like they have become celestials themselves. Wang Lin looked at the plain. It looked like this plain was endless, and it was filled with Celestial Ascension fruits. But Wang Lin wasn't interested in the fruits. At this moment, the armored bone arm broke through the restrictions and arrived here. Thick demonic spiritual energy was released from the armored bone arm and surrounded the area. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he stared at the arm. Then his right hand touched his bag of holding and the celestial sword appeared in his hand. Shu Ligua quickly let out a roar. Ever since his rebellion failed, he had always been very careful. Now that Wang Lin had taken out the celestial sword, he decided that he would definitely achieve some merit today. He has followed Wang Lin for many years and was very familiar with Wang Lin's personality. He thought to himself, as long as I achieve some merits, this fiend won't think about what happened back then. Sword hymns came from the celestial sword. A sword was a proud weapon above all other weapons. However, at this moment, the sword hymn that came out contained a dirty meaning. After the black bone arm appeared, it clawed at Wang Lin once more, and the heavenly demon wind gently blew toward him. Wang Lin was already prepared, his eyes turned cold and his heart of slaughter appeared. He quickly swung the celestial sword to send out a ray of sword energy, and the celestial sword itself flew out after the sword energy in the form of a sword dragon. Under Shu Ligua's control, the celestial sword swept toward the bone arm in an imposing manner and became entangled in a battle with the arm. The bone arm didn't even seem to care about the celestial sword and reached out to grab the sword. However, at the moment the arm touched the celestial sword, it released violent sizzling sounds like a piece of ice that had just touched hot iron. Shu Ligua began to laugh proudly. He was about to break free and get another hit off at the bone arm. However, thick demonic spiritual energy came out from the wrist guard and entered the celestial sword. Shu Ligua was startled and wanted to break free, but the bone arm was like a pair of metal pliers that had a tight hold on the sword. Wang Lin coldly looked at everything before him. At the moment that thick demonic spiritual energy was released, Wang Lin raised his right index finger and softly said, "Demonic finger." What was changed this time wasn't his own celestial spiritual energy, but the demonic spiritual energy that was released. Using his ascendant level cultivation, Wang Lin could transform the forces of the heavens and earth. It was different from the death aura that the finger of death gave. This was demonic spiritual energy. At this moment, Wang Lin's right index finger was like a huge vortex, as all of the demonic spiritual energy rushed toward his finger. Soon, a ray of black light appeared at Wang Lin's fingertip. This black light seemed to be able to devour light, and at the moment it appeared, it was surrounded by thick demonic spiritual energy. With a flick of his finger, the black light charged toward the bone arm. Its speed was too quick, so it landed on the bone arm in an instant. After a series of cracking sounds, the bone arm shattered and Shu Ligua quickly moved the sword away. At the moment the bone arm shattered, a symbol flashed on the wrist guard. Then the shattered black bone quickly spread, forming a black halo that was 10,000 feet wide. Demonic spiritual energy filled this 10,000-foot area, creating a prison. Then more symbols appeared on the wrist guard and began to emit the sound of a bell ringing. This sound came from the wrist guard, but it seemed to come from the heavens as it echoed within this 10,000-foot area. All of this happened in an instant. This sound was 100 times stronger than the heavenly demon wind, so the clarity Wang Lin managed to maintain with his slaughter heart immediately showed signs of weakening. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy, and with one step he arrived in the air. His hand formed a seal before turning into a palm that slammed down on the wrist guard. At the moment his palm touched the wrist guard, a monstrous demonic flame burst out from the wrist guard. This demonic flame formed a fist-sized shadow. This shadow had a single horn and was completely black. After it appeared, it revealed a smile of contempt before suddenly opening its mouth and laughing loudly. Wang Lin's origin soul shook, but his eyes became even colder. His right hand didn't stop and he pressed down on the wrist guard. At this moment, the black shadow from the wrist guard let out another crazy laugh. This time the sound was several times more intense than before. This intense sound wave created sonic booms that echoed between Wang Lin and the wrist guard. The sonic booms were only secondary, the real attack was aimed at his origin soul. Thanks to this demonic laugh, Wang Lin's origin soul began to leave his body once more, and his heart of slaughter was about to collapse. The shadow on the wrist guard revealed a dark grin and laughed like crazy once more. Wang Lin bit the tip of his tongue. Rather than retreating, he charged forward and grabbed the wrist guard. Then the celestial spiritual energy inside his body surged into the wrist guard like crazy. At the moment his celestial spiritual energy entered the wrist guard, the demonic laugh disappeared. However, the black shadow also disappeared and entered Wang Lin's body through his right hand. It then turned into waves of demonic spiritual energy that charged at his origin soul. The demonic dance of confusion. Wang Lin's right hand clutched the wrist guard as he quickly fell from the sky, then he sat down in the lotus position on the ground. The demonic spiritual energy moved through his meridians and created bursts of illusions that directly shook his origin soul. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a ghostly light as he looked at all the celestial ascension fruits around him. Without any hesitation, he waved his hand and all of the celestial ascension fruits within 10,000 feet flew off the branches and into the sky. There was no less than 10,000 of these fruits. It was as if a small portion of the sky was covered by these purple fruits. At this moment, the demonic spiritual energy inside him was luring his origin soul to fly out of his body. Wang Lin's face was gloomy as he closed his hand. Suddenly, all of the fruits in the sky shattered and their juices were extracted. Then the juices were all gathered together before they were condensed, and condensed again. In the blink of an eye, the juices of more than 10,000 celestial ascension fruits was condensed into one drop. A drop of blood-red liquid. Looking at this drop of blood-red liquid, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to grab it and throw it into his mouth. At the moment the liquid entered his mouth, Wang Lin's entire body shook. The mysterious feeling of the celestial ascension fruit increased countless fold and exploded inside Wang Lin's mind with a thunderous roar. Under this powerful stimulation, Wang Lin's mind was at its peak level of excitement. He suppressed his excitement and used it as power for his body. At this moment, his origin soul, which was about to be lured out by the demonic spiritual energy, suddenly stopped. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot and the veins on his head were bulging as if he was enduring great pain. Scram! Wang Lin let out a low roar. This sound was like a thunderous roar that echoed across the land. Then a black shadow was forced out of his body through his right hand. However, this black shadow was extremely stubborn. When it was half forced out, it began to laugh and struggled to re-enter Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's expression was fierce as the mysterious feeling from the celestial ascension fruit filled his body. This gave his body unimaginable power, and while he had to endure pain, it also gave him intense pleasure. The pain and pleasure were both suppressed by him. The suppression of these two feelings created an unimaginable explosive force. Scram! Wang Lin suddenly raised his head and his hand. Then a force exploded from his body and the black shadow was forced out of his body. At the moment the black shadow was pushed out and sent flying into the air, Wang Lin charged toward it with bloodshot eyes. He grabbed the black shadow and then the celestial spiritual energy from his body surged out like crazy and entered the black shadow. The black shadow let out miserable groan as it collapsed. It turned into fine, silky strings as it escaped from Wang Lin's hand before reforming itself 100 feet from Wang Lin and giving Wang Lin a vicious stare. But Wang Lin completely ignored that gaze. At this moment, the feeling from the fruits was about to explode. Still under the fruit's influence, Wang Lin took a step forward and without any hesitation pointed his pinky at the black shadow. Underworld finger. He used his ascendant level cultivation to bring out the underworld finger. The finger pointed at the underworld to activate the domain inside Wang Lin's origin soul. This finger contained the life and death domain. It contained all of Wang Lin's will. This finger reached its peak under the effect of the celestial ascension fruit. This finger caused the world to change colors. This underworld finger was a spell infinitely close to a low-quality celestial spell, so a large portion of the sky began to collapse and shatter. This one finger was life and death. The shadow with a horn revealed a look of disbelief. It let out a scream and wanted to flee, but the finger arrived. The black shadow's body paused and immediately collapsed. An angry roar came from the armor inside the black tower located inside the ancient battleground. Then a powerful will rushed out and merged with the void. After withdrawing that finger, the restriction created by the demonic spiritual energy within 10,000 feet disappeared. Wang Lin's right hand was still gripping the wrist guard. Crazy amounts of demonic spiritual energy came from the wrist guard as it tried to break free, but Wang Lin's right hand held it tightly. He spat out a mouthful of origin energy and it fell on the wrist guard. Then the origin energy turned into a spiderweb and sealed the wrist guard. Then he casually put the wrist guard inside his bag of holding. Wang Lin's eyes were still red, as the effect of the celestial ascension fruit wasn't over. An intense battle intent had been born inside Wang Lin's body. This battle intent was extremely powerful, and it was impossible to suppress. Wang Lin waved his right hand and the celestial sword flew back and landed in his hand. At this moment, Shu Ligua didn't dare to speak, as the current Wang Lin made his heart tremble. Wang Lin's eyes were completely red as he looked at the ground below him. The amount of celestial ascension fruits he had absorbed was only 1/10 of all the fruits here. He reached out toward the ground with his early-stage ascendant cultivation and caused the ground to tremble. Then countless fruits flew off the trees and went toward him. Nearly 100,000 celestial ascension fruits were stored away inside his bag of holding. At this moment, Wang Lin could no longer suppress the battle and killing intent in his heart. He let out a roar and was about to leave. But just at this moment, a cold snort filled with anger came from the void. It landed directly inside Wang Lin's mind. Wang Lin's mind trembled and then he coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell from the sky. After he landed, his head jerked toward the sky and his eyes revealed powerful killing and battle intent. He couldn't help but be injured. On a normal day, if Wang Lin's mind was injured like that by just a cold snort, he would immediately escape. However, he was different right now, and there was a hint of madness in his eyes. Not only did the injury in his body not decrease his battle intent, it actually made him even more crazy. He slapped his bag of holding and devoured a large amount of pills. With one step, he charged out. Although he was crazy, his consciousness was still there. When the cold snort came, he vaguely felt where it came from and directly charged there. Kill. The only thought in Wang Lin's mind was to kill. The killing intent that was removed when he turned into a mortal exploded once more thanks to the stimulation of the celestial ascension fruit. The fiend that made the sea of greed and Zhao tremble had awakened. Wang Lin's body moved like a flaming meteor across the sky, and he charged directly at the direction where he vaguely felt that cold snort come from. Another cold snort came from the tower in the ancient battleground. This snort contained disdain and killing intent. The cold snort arrived and landed on Wang Lin, causing him to cough out another large mouthful of blood. His eyes became even more crazy as he slapped his bag of holding and almost 100,000 celestial ascension fruits surrounded him. Without any hesitation, Wang Lin's hand reached out and the 100,000 fruits all collapsed one by one. The juices condensed and refined until the 100,000 fruits were condensed into just one drop. Wang Lin looked at the demonically red liquid that could cause a person to collapse and swallowed it. The moment he swallowed that demonically red liquid, Wang Lin felt like his body was about to explode, and the speed at which his blood was circulating through his body reached its limit. His battle intent and madness reached an unprecedented degree at this moment. Then he slapped his bag of holding and a wine jug appeared in his hand. This was the wine jug that he got at the cave, and it contained 10 drops of celestial liquid. As soon as he brought out the wine jug, he drank 4 drops. After the celestial liquid entered his body, celestial spiritual energy moved through his meridians like raging thunder. An unimaginable amount of celestial spiritual energy moved inside his body to the point where he might not be able to handle it. If it wasn't for the fact that his meridians were strengthened when he entered the ascendant stage and were refined by the ancient demon, he definitely wouldn't have been able to bear this. Wang Lin seemed to have gone crazy. His hair started flowing in the air and he charged out like a madman. A ghostly light flashed within the armor inside the Black Tower and a divine message echoed out. Could he have gone crazy? If he really comes here and damages the armor I'm in, he won't be able to make it here. A ray of killing intent came out from the tower and disappeared into the void. This strand of killing intent suddenly locked onto Wang Lin from within the void. The celestial spiritual energy was surging through Wang Lin's body when the killing intent arrived. His body trembled, but the battle intent in his eyes became even stronger. With a roar, the celestial spiritual energy inside his body seemed to explode, causing his body to move even faster. At this moment, Wang Lin was like a flame. Every time the person inside the Black Tower tried to extinguish the flame, it would ignite once more. It wasn't that he wasn't injured anymore. On the contrary, he was seriously injured from the continuous attacks from the person inside the Black Tower. However, due to the celestial ascension fruit, the stimulation in his origin soul was not going to go away anytime soon unless he died. Under this stimulation, no matter how serious his injuries were, he wouldn't care. The celestial spiritual energy surged even faster thanks to the effect of those 4 drops of celestial liquid. At this moment, there was only one thought in Wang Lin's mind, and that was kill. The divine sense inside the tower became even more angry and continued to attack. If it was anyone else, they would have already died, but thanks to the strange cooperation of the celestial ascension fruit and celestial liquid, Wang Lin wasn't dead. Normally his flesh would have died long ago and his origin soul would have collapsed. However, thanks to the effect of the celestial ascension fruit, his origin soul didn't collapse. Thanks to the surge of celestial spiritual energy from the celestial liquid, his body didn't die. The divine sense showed a hint of fear. Given Wang Lin's current state, even the person inside the Black Tower couldn't help but feel like something bad was coming. From his point of view, this Wang Lin had really gone crazy. If I knew it was going to be like this, I would not have tried to devour him. The death intent inside the divine sense pierced through the void and landed on Wang Lin. Wang Lin coughed out a large mouthful of blood. Although his eyes dimmed a bit, it was soon replaced with killing and battle intent. As Wang Lin flew, a beast-like roar came out of his throat. Finger of Death. The finger of death absorbs the life force others, causing the living to wither and give their power to it. At this moment, Wang Lin used this power in this crazed state. An aura of death began to spread out from his body and fused with the world. As he floated in the air, all of the vegetation under him withered. As he flew across the sky, the withering on the earth spread, and vegetation, birds, and beasts all died. This place looked like hell. It was very strange yet extremely shocking. Their deaths created strands of white gas that caught up to Wang Lin and entered his body. These strands of white gas quickly helped repair Wang Lin's damaged body and origin soul. In the Fire Demon country, Zishu was sitting on a horse. He was wearing a blue robe and had a giant sword on his back, and his eyes looked coldly into the distance. Behind him were 30,000 demon soldiers. The Da Lu sword sect's 12 swords had all scattered, and he was one of them. His cultivation was at the peak of the late stage of soul transformation. He had successfully gotten the position of chief commander and was leading his demon soldiers to meet his fellow brothers. As they moved, his expression suddenly changed when he saw a meteor blazing across the sky. His eyes narrowed to look at it carefully and then his expression immediately changed. Ascendant Cultivator. He quickly lowered his head and ordered his demon soldiers to back up, as he was unwilling to provoke this Ascendant Cultivator. He also saw that this Ascendant Cultivator's state of mind seemed a bit crazy. What made him even more terrified was that everywhere that person went, the earth under him would completely wither and be absorbed. Fortunately, they weren't on the same path, or else Zishu would have immediately chosen to go into another direction and stay far away from this person. Wang Lin didn't even notice the demon soldiers. Right now the only things in his eyes were battle and kill. At this moment, the cold snort carrying killing intent and a hint of anxiety came again. This time it was even stronger, causing Wang Lin's body to tremble and cough out another mouthful of blood. His body was about to be destroyed and his origin soul was about to dissipate. However, all of the life force he had absorbed on the way here was slowly nourishing his body and origin soul, allowing them to slowly recover. Zishu stared at Wang Lin in the sky. When he saw Wang Lin cough out blood, his eyes suddenly lit up. This person must be seriously injured. Although he has a strong aura, for him to cough out blood while just flying shows just how injured he is. Since this person has reached the ascendant stage, he must have many magic treasures and even some good techniques. More importantly, if I can refine his origin soul and feed it to my sword spirit, It will increase the power of my sword spirit greatly. A hint of killing intent appeared in Zishu's eyes, but it soon dimmed. This person is an ascendant cultivator after all. But if I let this opportunity pass, who knows when I'll meet another seriously injured ascendant cultivator. Let's do it. Zishu's eyes lit up once more. Kill. Zishu's body turned into a shadow and charged directly toward Wang Lin. The demon soldiers behind him heard the order and quickly began laying down the formation. A killing intent locked onto Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent, so he was very sensitive to killing intent. He turned his head and saw the 30,000 demon soldiers on the ground and Zishu, who was charging at him. He revealed a grim smile, then his body moved and charged towards Zishu. He was simply too fast and arrived next to Zishu's body in an instant. Zishu's expression changed greatly. He expected this person to run, not charge at him while seriously injured. He let out a snort before his hand formed a seal and the large sword on his back flew out. At the moment the large sword flew out, Wang Lin appeared. He grabbed the large sword with his right hand and threw it behind him. Then at the same time, he passed right beside Zishu. At the Wang Lion passed by Zishu, he softly tapped Zishu's shoulder. Zishu trembled and his body immediately withered along with his origin soul. In the blink of an eye, a life seal was formed, and it flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's didn't stop at all and charged into the 30,000 demon soldiers on the ground. A mad slaughter began. Blood stained the earth and souls filled the sky. Strands of life seals continued to appear and enter his body. Half an incense stick of time later, the ground was covered in blood. After it was over, Wang Lin flew out and charged into the distance. He now had 30,000 life seals, each of which carried endless vitality. As each mark disappeared, his body recovered a bit. The life seals were quickly dissipating, but his body was also quickly recovering. The anger of the divine sense inside the Black Tower in the ancient battleground became even stronger. This person absorbed a large number of celestial ascension fruits. Under the effect of the fruit, he isn't even afraid of death. Many of my attacks should have killed him, but instead of dying, his battle intent became even stronger. That's not even the important part. This person has a spell that allows him to absorb life from all sorts of life forms, allowing his injuries to recover at a rapid pace. If this continues, he will arrive here one day. A very rare feeling of regret appeared in the divine sense inside the black armor. At the moment Wang Lin left, Zishu's body was already on the ground. It had completely withered and was left without a trace of vitality, but there was a faint, golden light flashing on his forehead. Zishu's origin soul had already collapsed, so his body fell from the sky. The difference between him and Wang Lin was too big. He couldn't even use the sword energy that his master gifted him before he died. Wang Lin's heart carried a fierce madness, and the celestial spiritual energy inside his body moved like surging waves between his meridians and origin soul. Adding on the stimulation from the fruit, he was like a war god carrying monstrous killing intent. His eyes were bloodshot as he took a step forward in the air. There were rumbling echoes across the air as if his steps were shattering the sky. He moved rapidly across the air with these large strides. He was still far away from the location of the ancient battleground. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot as he walked across the sky, attracting the attention of a lot of people inside the demon spirit land. Among these people were cultivators and the demon generals of the fire demon country. As long as they didn't provoke Wang Lin, he ignored them, but at the moment they had any killing intent toward Wang Lin, he would immediately be able to detect them due to his current state. Anyone who had killing intent would be killed by Wang Lin without any hesitation. There was a private planet far away from planet Tian Yun called Planet Mo. This planet belonged to someone called Mo Ancestor. His cultivation had reached illusory yin of the yin and yang stage. This time, with his current cultivation, he lost the qualification to enter the demon spirit land. However, of his 3 disciples, aside from the head disciple, the other 2 both entered. At this moment 2 youths wearing grey robes were flying across the sky in the fire demon country. These 2 were the 2 direct disciples of the Mo Ancestor. As they flew, one of their eyes suddenly lit up. He looked into the distance and could clearly feel that there seemed to be a primal beast emitting unimaginable killing intent and that it was coming toward their direction. This person's expression suddenly changed and he yelled, "Junior brother, quickly retreat." With that, the 2 of them quickly scattered to the sides, and right after they did so, a meteor-like figure passed by. The figure passed by them. Ascendant. This person's pupils shrank. "Senior brother, he seems to be injured." The person's junior brother suddenly stared at the figure filled with killing intent, gradually moving away, and suddenly sent a voice transmission. An ascendant cultivator must have a lot of treasure on him. If we can obtain his demon crystal. The senior brother's eyes narrowed and he hesitated. Senior brother, both of us are at the late stage of soul transformation. Although our chances aren't great, with the two of us against an injured ascendant cultivator, and if we use magical treasures. Just as the two of them were communicating with each other, Wang Lin suddenly stopped. He turned around, looked behind him with his bloodshot eyes, and muttered, "There is killing intent." He suddenly turned around and charged toward those two like a bolt of lightning. When the two of them saw Wang Lin turn around, their expressions quickly changed and they began to retreat. However, Wang Lin's speed was too fast, so in the blink of an eye, he arrived next to the junior brother and extended his finger. The youth's expression changed greatly and was aghast at the situation. He looked at Wang Lin's gaze and was startled. This gaze was too terrifying. Wang Lin's finger made the youth feel like it was completely irresistible, as if this finger represented the heavens. This finger landed on his forehead at an unimaginable speed. This youth let out a miserable groan before his body instantaneously withered and his origin soul collapsed. The shattered origin soul and essence of his body was turned into slaughter energy. Then that strand of slaughter energy left his body and flew to Wang Lin. This all happened too fast. So fast that the senior brother wasn't able to react at all. By the time he awakened from the shock, his body shivered. Without any hesitation, he began to teleport and his body stepped into the void. Wang Lin took a step forward, streaked through the sky, and his right hand reached out. His finger seemed to have pierced through the void and forcibly pulled the young man out. The young man's face was pale as he quickly said, "I'm Mo ancestors." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Wang Lin's hand tightened. This person's body suddenly collapsed into pieces of flesh that fell to the ground. His life force turned into grey gas and flew toward Wang Lin. After killing the two of them, Wang Lin's eyes became even more red, and the battle intent became even stronger. Then his body suddenly jerked and he charged into the distance. As Wang Lin flew, the earth continued to wither. Every living thing died, whether it was vegetation or animals. All of them were killed and used to nourish Wang Lin's body. He seemed to come from hell as he devoured all life. Wang Lin flew almost in a straight line across the fire demon country, and everything along this line withered. A large amount of death was left behind as Wang Lin passed through. This was a kind of humiliation and provocation for a country. Dozens of demon generals were sent out to encircle and suppress this devil cultivator. The location of his encirclement was located near the border of the Fire Demon Country and Sky Demon Country. This place was called the Million Demon Mountain. Thick fog that never dissipated covered the Million Demon Mountain. There were two cities near the Million Demon Mountains with one on each side. One was the Fire Demon Country's Leisure Sky City and the other was the Sky Demon Country's Melting Fire City. At this moment, more than 100,000 demon soldiers were prepared in Leisure Sky City and more than 10 demon generals were looking at the distance. Among the demon generals, there was one person of a different rank. This person was a middle-aged man, and his expression was gloomy. Killing this cultivator will not be difficult for us. This time the Vice Commander-in-Chief is with us, so it will be even easier. A man next to the middle-aged man smiled. Although he was smiling, he was still showing respect. The next demon general laughed. "That's right. With the Vice Commander-in-Chief here, we can turn that cultivator into ashes in an instant." The middle-aged man calmly said, "All of you, finish this battle quickly, and once you guys kill that cultivator, I'll be leaving." Although his expression was gloomy, there was still a hint of pride in his eyes. As a Vice Commander-in-Chief, his status was very high, and he would normally not leave the capital for a mere cultivator. He was originally going to go to the Sky Demon Country for a personal matter, but when he arrived, he received orders from the Demon Emperor to stay here for a few days to lead the demon generals in a fight against a cultivator. He was quite helpless about this arrangement. In his opinion, there was no need to send this many people to kill a cultivator. It was too troublesome. At this moment, he pondered and said, "Are you guys sure this person will pass through here?" "Vice Commander-in-Chief, be at ease, as we have already sent people to scout. This person is traveling in a straight line and will definitely pass through here." "Vice Commander-in-Chief, there is one thing that confuses me. Out of the 10 people we sent out, only 3 of them died instead of all of them dying. It seems like this cultivator has some strange attitude when it comes to killing people." As the demon generals were talking, the middle-aged man's expression changed. He looked into the distance and revealed a hint of impatience as he said, A mere ascendant cultivator who is also seriously injured dares to be this bold in my fire demon country? All of you, quickly finish this fight. The more than 10 demon generals were startled and they all directed their cold gazes into the distance. One person wearing blue armor took a few steps forward toward the middle-aged man and said, Lord Vice Commander-in-Chief, your subordinate, Yin Dong, is willing to go kill this person. The middle-aged man nodded. Demon General Yin Dong took a step, turned into a ray of green light, and flew toward Wang Lin. Yin Dong's eyes became cold and revealed a hint of killing intent. He had to beautifully kill this person before the Vice Commander-in-Chief. If he could catch the attention of the Vice Commander-in-Chief, he would be on the path to success. An injured early-stage ascendant cultivator, HMPH. My demonic force is almost at 300,000, and although I have no confidence against a real ascendant cultivator, you are seriously injured. Killing you won't be difficult. Killing intent. As Wang Lin flew, his eyes contained a monstrous amount of red, and killing and battle intent filled his mind. Incomer, stop! Yin Dong shouted as he flew, and he poured all of his demonic force into this sound to create a shock effect. This loud roar was like a thunderous roar as it echoed across the city. Then all 100,000 soldiers came to attention and a killing aura surrounded the area. The middle-aged man revealed a hint of admiration for talent and said, This Yin Dong is not bad, he knows to use aura to pressure people. Yin Dong felt very proud when he felt the killing intent in the air. However, he didn't know that this killing intent led to the bloody gates of hell. This thick killing intent was immediately felt by Wang Lin in his current sensitive state. This killing intent was too strong, and when Wang Lin felt this, his crazy mind caused his battle intent to increase several-fold. He didn't stop at all and stepped forth. Yin Dong let out a cold snort and was about to use a skill, but right at this moment, Wang Lin suddenly raised his head. His eyes revealed a crazy amount of red light as he lifted his hand and pointed forward. In an instant, a black light created by the finger of death shot out. Yin Dong didn't even have time to dodge before he was surrounded by the black light, then his body withered and eventually collapsed. At this moment, the shouts from the 100,000 demon soldiers on the ground suddenly stop. Silence, a strange silence filled the wall. The middle-aged man's eyes suddenly opened and for the first time revealed a sign of caution. Kill. During this silence, Wang Lin let out a roar. Then strands of slaughter energy came out from his body and turned into dragons. In an instant, the more than 30,000 strands of slaughter energy appeared and filled the air. At this moment, Wang Lin was surrounded by more than 30,000 dragons and looked like a demon god that was descending. Every chief commander, listen to orders and prepare the formation. A shout came from one of the old men among the demon generals, causing the 100,000 demon soldiers to immediately move. At the moment the 100,000 demon soldiers moved, the 30,000 strands of slaughter aura descended. A bloodbath was about to start. This video will end here.